Dear Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus, thank you for this day. Once again, thank you for the perseverance that you give us. Thank you for the faith that you give us. Thank you for the grace that you give us. Lord, thank you for the things that we have to be thankful for. Thank you for it all. Lord, I just pray that you think through me, speak through me right here, right now. And I pray that, the person who needs to hear this the most, I pray that they tune in. And I pray that you give them exactly what you wanted to give them. And I pray all these things. And I pray over all these people. In Jesus' name, amen. What is up, ladies, gentlemen, and ladies? This is another episode of A King's Journal. The episode title, I'll give you it in a second. So I want to jump into this real quick. A while back, and I haven't seen this in a long time, but there's a movie called The Wiz. It's from, I'm sure you've probably seen the Wizard of Oz, but for Black people, we remember most The Wiz, okay? And so in The Wiz, there was, of course, the character Dorothy, and then she, there was a big old tornado. She ended up in it. She woke up in a different place, right? And so in this different place, she ends up meeting these three different characters who tag along with her throughout the rest of this story. There was the Scarecrow, there was the Tin Man, and there was the Lion, okay? And then the goal is Dorothy, she's trying to get back home. She doesn't know how she got here in the first place. And then she ended up killing a witch, the Wicked Witch of the East, when she got to this fantasy place that she's never been to before. And so all she wants to do is get home. The first person that she talks to figure out how to get home, they tell her, look, all your answers all your questions can be answered if you go ahead and talk to the Wiz. Right? So, and he, and then she goes on this journey. She's like, how do you find the Wiz? And now you got to go down the yellow brick road. And so on this yellow brick road, then she meets the three characters that she meets. But then not only that, they're not just there to help her to get through or get to the Wiz, but these characters have needs of their own. These characters have different things that they're trying to do, and in their own personal journey, they're struggling with some things, but they want to get to the Wiz so they can get the answers as well. So the Scarecrow, he wanted some brains. He felt like he couldn't think. And then there was the Lion, who wanted courage, and then there was the Tin Man, who wanted a heart. He wanted to be able to feel. And so all of these people, all these characters, they got together, and then Dorothy said, look, hey, I'm going somewhere where there's a person called the Wiz. There's a magical person called the Wiz. And if we get there, then he's going to help me with what I'm trying to get. I'm trying to get home. But he can also probably help you too. So come on with me. And I was like, how you get there? Well, we're going to go down this yellow brick road and we're going to figure it out. When we get there, the Wiz, because that's what homie told me back there, the Wiz is going to answer all of our questions and solve all the problems. Okay? Flat out. And so they march down this road. They're dancing, singing. And as she's picking up each of these characters, there's different trials to get them out of their current situation. A lot of it is mental. But the Scarecrow, he's around a bunch of crows who are trying to keep him on this, I don't even know what it's called, but they're trying to keep him hung up. And they're reinforcing that he cannot win. There's nothing that he can do that can get him off of this and be, normal or be what he wants to be. He's dumb, he's stupid. Stop reading, because in his hat. So in Michael Jackson played the Scarecrow in The Wiz. Phenomenal job. He had this newspaper inside of him, and he pulled something out and he could read the news, or he could read a fact or a proverb or something like that. And so he could pull it out and read it, but the Scarecrows didn't want to hear that because they wanted him to believe that he was dumb. And so he went on this big old journey to get some brains from the Wiz. And so this story, I think I wanted to talk about this story particularly because I was having a conversation this past Tuesday, our faithful morning League of Extraordinary Gentlemen morning accountability calls. And I had just jumped on at the end of it because I had a week, y'all. Like, I mean, a tough one. Like, I mean, I felt like I was getting uppercutted. I was getting jabbed. I was getting stabbed. I was getting tripped. I was getting kicked. That's how this week felt. And then my guy Mike, he was explaining this story, and he was like, man, a lot of people, when we're going through the storm, when we're going through a storm in life, a lot of people are typically focused on the storm. They're like, man, I wish this would pass. Man, this sucks. I can't go out and play. I can't do all these different things that I would typically do because I'm in the storm, in the middle of this storm. But he said he thinks it's really important, and I do too, that we learn how to dance in the rain. Because when you dance in the rain, you have to shift your focus from the storm, and then you have to then refocus on the things that you can do, and you have to have a certain level of joy to still be dancing while everybody's so concerned and so down about the storm. I thought it was, this dude always says something that is absolutely fire. Like, Mike Wright, you the man. All right. But I think when it comes to expand on that a little bit, I think it's important to learn how to dance in the rain. And in order to do that, I think it takes three main ingredients. Okay. The first one is faith. The second one is perseverance. And then the last one is gratitude. Dancing in the rain is not something that's easy to do. I don't know. You typically, if you saw someone who, if it started raining and you went to your window, opened up the blinds, and you saw someone outside dancing, you might think that they were crazy. Or if you heard someone was telling you, so say there was the therapist's office, right? Just an office of therapists, right? And then all the people with all of their problems comes in. But instead of when you walk in and see the therapist and the patient, instead of seeing this person sad and crying and this person taking notes, what if instead you saw people up dancing, laughing, having an amazing time, and completely filled with joy? That'd be a sight to see. I think that would be quite the sight to see. And I think the people who can dance in the rain are more equipped mentally and spiritually to go through any storm that comes up in life. And don't get me wrong, there's always going to be a storm. Everything, there's a season for everything. It might be sunny and bright right now, but just know, and I'm not saying this to make you feel bad, but just know a storm is coming. That's just the way life is. We don't worry about tomorrow because tomorrow's going to worry about itself. Okay. We have today to be concerned about. And if today is good, make sure that you do what you need to do in this day so that you can be prepared for whatever happens tomorrow. Dancing in the storm, dancing in the rain. Okay. So faith. Now, the first thing that I want to say is there's Jeremiah 29:11. I know you guys have heard about it. I know you guys have heard it before, most likely. And on this other podcast that I was on, I broke down Jeremiah 29:11. Like I broke it down in detail for the context, the definitions, and then I put it because a lot of people kind of put this verse or use it out of context. They don't really understand like why it was said in the spot that it was said. So I'm not about to do that all in this episode, but I will be using it in its context. So Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the thoughts that I think towards you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end." I know the thoughts that I think towards you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. Dancing in the rain. Faith. Faith takes a solid and unwavering belief in something. I think when you talk about faith, and I'm not just talking about the people who believe in God, but I'm talking about because everybody has faith in something. Everybody has faith in something. There's some people like if you don't believe in God, I recommend it. But if you don't believe in God, then you have your faith somewhere. There's something that's getting you out of bed in the morning. There's something that's making you go to work. Because if you didn't have faith that your employer was going to pay you on the 1st and the 15th, then you wouldn't show up to work. You had faith in that. You've got faith that they are going to do what the contract says they're going to do. That's what you have faith in. I mean, you have faith that, time worked is time that you've earned something, right? You got faith. You've got faith that when you eat food, that you ain't going to die on the spot. Okay? And so everybody's got some sort of faith. Now, my definition of faith, Hebrew 11:1 says, now faith is the substance, aka the foundation of things hoped for and the evidence, proof of things unseen. The only way to have faith in the middle of a storm is to shift your focus and direct it towards something that that you believe in your heart of hearts is going to happen, is going to keep you, is going to be strong no matter what. There's just no way this thing can fail. So I was a while ago, I had this crazy experience where I was like running on this hill at night. And so it was a big hill and there was a long field. Okay. And so there was only a few lights and the lights were at the top of the hill. So pretty much the valley area was all dark. And so when you're running towards it, all you can see is the light and half of the hill, the half of the top of the hill. And then when you're moving forward, though, you really can't see much. You can't see your legs. You just see the light coming closer to you if you're moving in the direction of it. When you looked at the ground, when you look to the left, when you look to the right, then you start to waver. You start to vary off course. You're not moving in the path quickest to the light, which is the light. And I think that's the same with having faith. I had faith that if I keep moving towards this light, if I keep running, if I keep moving forward, then I'm going to get to the top of this hill. But when I got distracted, then I got off course. Then I got off the path. Then it was harder. Then I had to figure out how to get back on track so that I can get to the top of the hill. And it was going to take longer if I lose my focus. What is faith? Now, me, I got faith in God. So I believe that all things work together for me, for the good of those that love God, that are called according to his purpose. This is what I have faith in. And because my faith is in something that is unchanging, unwavering, and something that is outside of me and my individual effort, and it's not something that's going to be here today and gone tomorrow like anything on the planet, something that's just completely unchanging. This is what my faith is in. And because of my faith is in something like that, so strong, I can keep moving, knowing that, having the hope and the foundation, knowing that when I move, when I do these things, when I listen, when I follow directions, that I will and I cannot fail. I will move forward. I will get to where I'm designed to get to. If I don't have faith, then life is just a little bit too shaky. Life is a little bit too unstable. And you're going to have faith in something. So I would definitely choose wisely. The issue with having faith in, things that are within you or things of this world is, so say my faith was in, say, a person, right? Say I got into a relationship and my faith was 100% in the person that I was with. Like, I have faith that me being with them is going to bring my happiness and joy. Now, that is a person. I don't know if you're a person and you could, you know this experience or not, but typically people ain't 100% of who they say they are. That's everybody. in everybody's mind, we are better than we really are. No, well, we would hope to be that we're better than others, like, well, than the bad folk, than the bad guys. But the thing is, at some point in time, a person is going to fail you in some area. So if my joy, if my peace, if my hope is all in this other person, then I've given them way too much leverage in my life. Because as soon as this person, because they could get sick, or they could just flat out like someone else. They could flat out just go somewhere else and completely ghost me. And if they do that, and all of my faith was in them for my peace, for my joy, then they take that joy with them when they leave. So that's not stable. That's not steady. If I put my faith in my work ethic, my ability, my effort, what if I get tired? Then I can only be depressed because I haven't matched up to the expectations that I set for myself. And also, I can't affect that other person over there. I can't make them do anything. Therefore, if it's all on me and I'm not a perfect person, then that's not that stable either. Shoot. I don't know, there's some people out there who are like, you know what, if I just believe and that the things will happen and I put out good vibrations on the planet, then the universe is going to reward me. Now, I don't have a whole lot to say to somebody like that. But the thing is, I don't know about you, but in my experience, the universe is just a created thing that operates by different systems and processes, and it has no emotions, and it does not care about me at all. So if a hurricane happens and it wipes out my home and a rock falls on my face, I'm dead. It falls on my leg, I can't walk. And if I'm saying that the universe is supposed to be rewarding me because I'm believing really hard, and then that thing doesn't happen, now, I guess I'm not beating up on myself, but who are you really beating up on? The world? I've seen people in that situation too, where they're just mad at the world. Like, nah, I deserve these things. And I believed for them and I worked for them and they did not happen. So therefore, everybody sucks and everybody's against me and the world is a hard place to live and this place is terrible and I don't want to be in it anymore. You, ma'am or sir, need to go get checked out for depression. It's a sad way to live. But it's also, it shows you where your faith is. Faith, the first characteristic of Dancing in the Rain. The four characters, Dorothy, Tin Man, Lion, Dorothy, Tin Man, Lion, Scarecrow, they had faith that if they kept moving down the yellow brick road, they would get to the Wiz, who would then grant them all of their wishes. If they did not believe that there was a Wiz that could do that, then they would have no compelling reason to keep moving, despite the crows, despite all of the obstacles, despite the witch coming to stop them, despite the different color changes and they not fitting with the color changes, despite all of the different trials that they were going through, they would not have a reason to keep moving if they didn't have faith in something. Number two, perseverance. Perseverance takes self-discipline. I heard an amazing definition from a dude named Brian Tracy. He had a book, I think it's called No Excuses or something, or Discipline, something like that. But pretty much he summarized self-discipline. His definition of self-discipline was doing what you need to do when you need to do it, whether you feel like it or not. That's all it is. My definition, Galatians 6:9, Well, not the definition, but to support this, Galatians 6:9 says, "And let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up." So in the storm, in the rain, continuously moving forward, continuously working. I heard it from, I was talking to another really great guy who's also in that call, Pastor Rodney Kemp. He was saying not too long ago, like when people wait on the Lord, I think some people misinterpret what it means to wait on the Lord, because when you hear it, some people automatically take it as, okay, I'm waiting on the Lord, meaning that I'm sitting still, and what's going to happen is going to happen. God's just going to come and swoop in and do his thing. Just going to be like, just bam, this is going to be done. But what he said that's not the correct way to think of it, because when you're waiting on the Lord, you still need to be working. You still need to be moving forward, because when you are still moving, then he supports you. He supports you in that. You can then see more. You can then move. You're moving in that direction, so he can supply you with more things and give you that direction to go in. But if you're not moving, then he can't really guide you. So perseverance, taking that self-discipline. Man, one thing that is for sure is when you're going through something, and this is heart to heart, me and you, when you're going through something like something tough, something heavy, it gets harder to wake up in the morning. It gets like you have to motivate yourself to keep moving. Like when your hope starts to dwindle, when things look at their darkest, when it almost seems like you don't really, the light at the end of the tunnel is so far that you really don't see it. It's more like a twinkle. It can be really hard to keep moving. But the only way to get to the whiz, the only way to get to that light at the end of the tunnel is if you keep moving, no matter how hard it is. The way that a long road becomes easier for me, in my personal experience, is I take it day by day. And I think that's the only way to build anything of any real significance, or to do anything great. Because you can't eat an elephant in one bite. You have to chop it up. You have to eat it in pieces. You have to break it down in pieces. You don't build a house, by just picking up a pile of bricks and then throwing it, and then it'll just magically create a full built out building for you. You have to lay every brick down piece by piece and build it up. Make sure that each individual brick is fitted perfectly in place, so that you can put the next one on top with just as much perfection. Because when you lay this brick and then this brick and then this brick, over time you'll have a wall. And if you laid each one of those bricks in the right position, firmly fitted with the other bricks, then it'll be solid. It'll be strong. So it's not, you can't just blow it over and it'll just fall. And that's how you get through whatever the situation is, brick by brick, step by step, day by day. So me, I can't be concerned about what's happening tomorrow. I can't be concerned about what happened yesterday. Like yesterday, maybe my phone broke randomly. I had to go to T-Mobile to get a new phone. I had to go dig into my savings to go get a brand new phone. And then my other phone was broken, so broken that it was difficult. They couldn't get everything transferred over. And then they gave me a phone that was this is a real story, actually. I was gonna just use it as like an example or like made up thing, but this happened this week. And then they gave me a new phone. I went and took this new phone that didn't have all the data transferred because it was taking all day, and I don't have all day to spend at T-Mobile. I got the new phone. The new phone actually was defective. I don't even know anybody who's gotten a defective phone, like who's bought a new phone and it was defective. The issue was you put this thing on charger and then you can use it. But when you take it off charger, it goes from whatever percentage it said it was down to 0 and it shuts down within 30 seconds every time. So I put it on charger and I left it on charger all day. And then I took it off, died. So I'm like, okay, there has to be something wrong with this phone because I'm charging and it's not charging. So I took it back and I found out that I actually am one of the, I don't know how rare this is. I'm one of the people, and whatever that large number is, that got a malfunctioning phone, so I had to get another one. And so now I'm taking 2 days at this store just to get this phone thing figured out. And a lot of what I do for a living has to do with my phone. It has to do with what I can do on my phone. Crazy. But I decided that I was still going to get the things that I needed to get done. I still was going to get the communication handled. I still was going to keep pressing forward, because if I stopped, if I just said, all right, this is it, I'm done. Enough has happened. And now this thing, because that wasn't the only thing. And now this, I'm done. I'm throwing in the towel. I'm not doing anything further. That's the only time you can truly say that you failed, is when you quit. Let me say that again. People, you haven't failed because you messed up. You haven't failed because someone did something to you. You haven't failed because you switched directions. You haven't failed because you decided to get a job instead of just full-time working on this business. You haven't failed unless you stopped. That's the only way you can fail. So every maneuver, every misstep, every mistake can be considered a lesson instead of a failure, because if it's a lesson, you keep moving forward. And if you keep moving forward, then you are still on a path to get to whatever the desired destination is. Dancing in the rain takes perseverance, because when you know that you're still moving, when you know that you've got your faith in this thing that's going to happen and you're still moving towards it, no matter what it looks like outside, no matter what the circumstances look like, if you're still moving towards it, if you're still moving forward, then you can have that joy, then you can have that peace, knowing that the effort that you are putting in now to get to there, no matter what is looking like around here, this is worthwhile, and this will reap a reward. The last thing, gratitude. 1 Thessalonians 5:18, it says, in everything give thanks, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus concerning you. I was listening to Tony Robbins a while back. If you've ever gone to a Tony Robbins event, he's really big on like getting people active. He wants you to get up, jump around, throw your hands in the air. He wants you to yell. He wants you to really be engaged, like physically, in whatever the event is. And there was a study that went out a while ago, I think while I was in high school maybe, where they talked about like if you stand up and you get into like a power pose, like power stances, or put your hands up like you just won a race or something, and you just do this, you just stay in these poses before you go into maybe a speech or anything that might scare you or anything that you might need a little bit more confidence in, then you will have more confidence going into those things. I think the same thing works. Now I don't know how much that works. I know that if you do change your state, then you have more control of yourself so that you can do what you need to do. That I do know, because, in sports, it's all about, that's literally what you have to do it. Like no matter, the way to get out of a funk is to just change your whole physiology so that you can do what you need to do. That's why everybody's in a huddle before the game, yelling and screaming and getting super hyped so that they can go just play so they can just go take care of business. That's what happens. Some of y'all need to do that before you go to work in the morning, so you don't go off on that other person, or so you don't go in sad or slopey all the time. You just need to get up, get wild, get loud. We have praise and worship before the message because we want you to prepare yourself, prepare your heart and your mind to receive, prepare your heart and prepare the presence. We ain't gonna get all into that today, but it's really important. So the same thing works for gratitude. I talked about like focus before, shifting your focus. When I focus on the things going wrong, talk about the storm again. If I focus on the storm and the things that I can't do because there's a storm, then my emotions, I will then feel sad. I will then feel down. I will then be more inclined to be upset because I'm focused on the things that I cannot control. I'm focused on the problem. And if I'm staying focused on this problem, then all I'm going to get is the only things that are going to be going through my head is how much of a problem that thing really is. And then that problem grows and grows and grows in my mind. And so the problem that might have been as big as like a potato chip might be as big as the house because I've spent so much time directly focused on it that I can't even see all of the good things around me. There was a person who called me the other day. Her name is I'm not going to say it. There's a person who called me the other day, and she was telling me, so she was supposed to get back to me about she does like personal assistant type work, and she was going to give me a quote. And so she wanted me to tell her what I might need, and then she was going to give me a quote for that. So I sent her a message with everything that I might need, and she didn't get back to me. What I found out weeks later when she called was that her sister had just gone through something traumatic, like something. She was in the hospital, and they were concerned for her life, and it was tough. It was really tough for her. And so this happened like right after we spoke. So I'm like, hey, don't be worried about me in that quote. Handle what you got to handle, dude. But she was going through that. But what she told me though was in that hospital room with her sister. Like her sister was, on the medical bed. Her family was in the room, and the beautiful thing about the whole situation, which is crazy, you don't know if your sibling is going to be alive, and you're talking about the beautiful thing in this situation. That's powerful in itself. But she's sitting here. She says she's in this room. She's thinking about the fact that all these people came together to support this person. She's talking about the laughter, the jokes that were being told amongst family members, which made her laugh, which made the person who's on the bed laugh. Because then when you laugh, when you have joy, when you decide to shift your focus from the problem and onto the better things, the brighter things, the things that you do have, the things that you have to appreciate, then you can have joy no matter what's going on. So if I'm on this bed and they just told me that I've got some severe illness that's about to take me out within a few days, right? But I'm more so thinking about the family that came to love on me, the music that I get to hear, the jokes that are being told. Now I'm laughing in this bed, and that's when you look crazy. That's dancing in the rain. So I think it's really important to be grateful for things, to have gratitude, because when you are in that storm, if you're thinking about the storm, you're only going to be focused on the bad things happening. But when you think about, man, I have eyes I don't know how to see. I said this before, but God has given me the ability to see. I can touch, taste, smell, hear, breathe. I can think, I can walk, talk. I've got a family. I've got people who support me, people that love me. I've got food to eat. I've got clothes on my back. I've got a roof over my head. I've got a God that loves me. I've got I've got all sorts of things going my way. I mean, I've got both 2 arms, 2 legs, 5 fingers on this hand, 5 on the other, 5 toes on both feet. Shoot. What an amazing list of things. And definitely what a great list of things to be thankful for. And when you focus on these things that you do have, when you focus on the things that are good, how can you not dance in the rain? So faith, perseverance, and gratitude. I have to believe that there is good in where I'm going. I have to believe that there is good somewhere at the end of this, because this thing, just like everything else that is changing, this too shall pass. This storm is just for right now, but it won't be maybe tomorrow. It won't be maybe next year, but however long it's going to be, it won't last forever. It can't. So I have faith knowing that this thing is going to end at some point in time, or I'm going to make it through this thing. Perseverance. If I just keep on moving, if I keep moving forward, I have faith that this thing will pass and I will see a brighter day than today. And you know what? Because I'm moving forward, because I have this thing to have faith in, I'm grateful that I can keep moving. I'm grateful that I know that this thing will pass. I'm grateful knowing that I can still smile. I'm grateful knowing that I can still move. I've still got blood rushing through my veins. I'm grateful for the things that I have around me that are still allowing me to have joy even in this situation. You can't be stopped at that point. There is nothing that will ever be too big, nothing that will ever be too great. There's no trial that will ever be too challenging for you to make it through. If you have faith, you keep your perseverance, and you have gratitude. Life can't hurt you. Life can't stop you. Just keep moving. So, to wrap it up, it's important to dance in the rain because who you are in the rain is the substance, the foundation of who you really are. And circumstances don't control a person who has control of their mind. Really let that sink in. Circumstances don't control a person who has control of their mind. That means rain or shine, I'm good. That means I got laid off. All right, I'm gonna find another. I'm good. That means this person left. I'm good. You mean this person passed? I'm good. You mean you won't give me this? I'm good. You know why? Because this too shall pass. The feelings, the hurt, the pain, the challenge, it can't last. Now, on the other side of that token, you got to also understand that if you are in that place where everything is great, then most likely, actually not most likely, most definitely, there will be a storm. Be ready for it. Maybe I'll talk about preparing for the storm next week. But for today, thank you for joining. If you're on YouTube, make sure that you hit the subscribe button. If you are on Facebook, make sure that you like this episode and share it with somebody else. And I hope to see you next week. This is a King's Journal, episode number 14, I believe. And I'm Martel, and I'll be here next week on Sunday. So I'll see you later. Peace.